Season 2 is finally here. The Prince of Jihad, The Last Chance, The Strongest Regular, and the Bath Arcs. Let's talk about them in this video. So hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and thank you for joining me as we talk about these 4 arcs where we get some great family interaction between princesses and we see some new characters that are vaguely familiar but at the same time fresh and appealing. Seeing the palace is everything that you would actually expect. It's elegant, glamorous, and overall has that rich vibe to it. And this is also where we see 2 other princesses that we have not yet seen. I'm of course talking about the owner of the Yellow May, Khun, Misheni, Jihad, and this pink-haired princess as well. We don't know this princess's name, however, but she seems to be on good terms with Yuri Jihad. But her expressions and dialogue towards the end hint at a sinister ulterior motive behind her actions, as she starts stating things like it's time to prepare them for when the Prince of Jihad returns. Could something big and climactic be on the way once he arrives? This ending just left me wanting to know more and got me excited for things to come. I love the interactions between Yuri and Misheni, as they do have that sisterly vibe between them. They both do care for each other, but at the same time they just can't stand each other. Hence the back and forth banter between the 2 of them. And yet you do still have this air of respect lingering between the 2 characters. As first impressions go, I think Misheni was very interesting, and I honestly wouldn't mind seeing her come back in the series in a future arc. Plus, I want to see what the Yellow March is capable of. Overall, this opening arc was great for its comedic value, such as seeing Yuri fangirl over Bam to the point of bleeding out of her nose, and obviously with the whole kind of just give her a hot chocolate situation. It sets up for future events that was really interesting and really catches my attention and grabs me, makes me want to learn more with the whole world building and character building, which I thought was a much needed introduction. We learned that Yuri is the first person to own 2 of the 13-month series weapons since well, a really long time ago. They say since another character, but I can't remember the name, unfortunately. Plus, we also learn that the time skip in which Season 1 ends and Season 2 starts is that of a 5-year time skip, which honestly makes me want to learn what happened to the other cast in that 5 years, but we have to wait and see. So now a question for you as the viewer. Did Quint and Leimuro have a kid? Because this guy looks like a mixture of the 2. No, honestly, I'm just joking. But before the test truly started, I did think that this arc was giving us, or treating us, to some Leimuro backstory, and learning how he entered the tower. However, the name didn't obviously match up, but who's to say that you can't change your name once you become a ranker, or you have to change your name once you become affiliated with the Jihad family or the ranker status. Nowhere is it stated that that's the case, and nowhere has it stated that it's not the case. So I was kind of thinking that, but until we saw a certain character. But in all seriousness, this new arc was filled with different characters, and I thought it wasn't too bad overall. It was slow to start, but I'm liking most of the characters that has appeared so far, and I think they all have something to offer, but ultimately this arc is probably going to develop the character for Bam. Oops, sorry, I mean Violi. So that he can basically remember the importance of having friends / a team that you can rely on. This character seems to not want to be involved with anyone or anything that the Bam that we knew originally wanted to have. If you remember, Bam in Season 1 wanted to make friends, he wanted to be with people. But this character, who looks strangely familiar and looks exactly like Bam, who is pretty much his Bam because he's having memories of Rachel, you know, he just doesn't have that I want to be friends with people sort of vibe. He's a lot more serious, he's a lot more kind of deadly, and that I really loved. And honestly, I think this is the right decision, because having Bam rejoin the main crew from Season 1 again after what happened to him wouldn't feel very realistic, as this character needs to realise that it was only Rachel that betrayed him and not everyone in the friend group. If he goes back to like Khun and Rax and everybody else and starts being all chummy and friendly towards them, but as soon as Rachel comes into view, he's like, that wouldn't really make much sense. Bam needs to go through another sort of process and develop more and learn the value of teammates and friendship once again. It sounds like a cheesy shonen, but at the same time, I think it works quite nicely. Plus, the character of Violet needs a team. Yes, he is overpowered. We see this in the fight that he displays. And he seems to be weak to Pokeballs? I know that was like a reference, but it's still pretty cool. So having this character relearn the importance of teams before meeting up with Khun, Hats, and Shibisu makes a lot of sense to me personally. Seeing how strong Violet was in this was great. The art style was really complemented by, you know, just the way that it's drawn and the actions that were being displayed. Very nice. Overall, the vibe of the series took a very serious shift once this character arrived on screen. The first introduction we get to Violet / Bam's character was him standing over other competitors with them on the floor, unconscious, presumably dead. But at the same time, you have to just like go, what is going on? This hyped me up, this made me want to read more, and obviously I read more arcs than I wanted to for this review, but at the same time, I was enjoying myself, so no, you know, all good, positive things. The introduction of the group known as Fugue was interesting. Learning about them being the most influential crime syndicate within the tower who has themselves set up against the Great 10 Houses was kind of interesting. So hopefully it gets expanded a little bit more and we understand why Bam is a part of this group. And the flashbacks with Rachel was quite thought-provoking, as it shows him still trying to piece the reasons as to why Rachel did what she did to him. He believes that Rachel wouldn't want to be alone even while climbing the tower because of that story that she told him and the dialogue that she accompanied that with. And yet she betrayed him when he thought that they were friends. Plus, I loved the fact that Rachel looked emotionally attacked when Bam stated or asked if the guy in the story would be lonely being up the tower all by himself. What's the point in being so close to a star if you're all on your own and you don't have anyone with you to kind of keep you company? Now, for this review, I'm not going to be talking about every single character because that would make this extremely long. But I will talk about a few characters that I found quite interesting. Obviously, if you want to talk about more characters and get my points of view on the ones I don't talk about, then just let me know in the comments down below and I'll gladly give you my thoughts on them. But here are the ones that I thought were kind of interesting and I would love to see moving forward. So then, let's talk about the character that I joked about at the start. Wang Nan. A character that wants to be the king of the tower, and yet displays some very cowardly behaviour, but overall he does seem like a very genuine and determined guy. Literally signing away his organs to have that one last final chance at passing the test. So you have to admire that about this character. He doesn't give up. And the ring that he possesses is very intriguing, as it looks like we hopefully should be getting some more information about that in the next couple of arcs, because him and Bam / Violet have a standoff with the ring as he's like, tell me about this, or what's this all about? And honestly, I want to learn more about it. Maybe he's the prince that's meant to be coming to the tower, but at the same time, I don't see that being the case, but we'll have to wait and see. Design-wise, I've joked about him looking like a mixture between Leivaro and Quint, but as a side note, that machine with Quint in the test of Shinzu sort of strength, that was pretty funny. But yeah, overall, the design's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Hopefully he'll ditch that sort of like soldier's uniform. Wasn't a big fan of that, but at the same time, you know, the hairstyle's pretty cool. And I can see the story kind of evolving and moving forward with this character in a way that shows weakness in Violet / Bam's character, by having him needing to beat or at least land a clean hit on Violet's character to kind of get that ring back in the next test. We don't know what the next test entails, but if there's a bit of combat between the characters, then maybe, actually, you know what? I can see a situation I could be completely wrong, but I can see a situation where every character that wants to be on Viola's team has to at least get a clean hit on the character. And I think that the next kind of chapter we're going to have after this Bath arc is going to kind of open up with them making that deal and that arrangement, saying, I'll give you this ring back if you can land a clean hit on me. I think that would be pretty cool, because again, it would show slight weakness in Viola's character / Bam. Plus, we've seen him kind of hit him with that Pokeball kind of thing, and that did a little bit of damage, or just surprised and stunned him. So, hopefully, we do see more of him moving forward. Yon, aka Flamethrower Lady, and this character is that typical kind of living up to your family's reputation gimmick with her character, but she does have a great design, and it kind of reminds me of Yukiko Imagi from the Persona 4 anime series. That's what her design kind of reminds me of, but at the same time, I am very intrigued by this character. I do want to see how she kind of develops moving forward. Hopefully, we do get to see more from her in the future, and her goals become more investable. I wanted to kind of move away from this kind of typical, I want to live up to my family reputation gimmick for a character, and have a goal for herself, because that would make her a really good and viable character. I've included her on here because I really do like her design. I like her intro. I like the fact that, you know, she forgets who Wang Nang is by, you know, just saying, who are you? You rude. And then she actually just like flamethrowed him in the past test. You know, she's very unpredictable. She can burn her own teammates, but also her enemies at the same time. So seeing her develop and her grow would be interesting. So hopefully we get to see more from her. And speaking of Persona 4 lookalikes, we have another one in Love. A test administrator that looks like Teddy from the Persona 4 franchise. But this character does seem to have some connection of some sort between himself and Fugue, as he does seem to show off some personal hatred towards the group. So much so that he argues with his head ranker. The conversation between his head ranker and this character was very tense and very serious. He was there like, oh, I need to test this guy because I'm gonna, you know, he's a member of Fugue. And then the ranker was just like, don't harm the boy. We've got to do things normally. Follow procedures and follow rules. And then this character, Love, walks away looking very angry and very annoyed. So whatever he had planned for Bam / Viola's character, I want to see what happens. I want to see how they're trying to iterate his plan. And I want to see if he goes against his orders. If he goes against orders, I think that'll be rather interesting, because we don't know what happens to an administrator or a ranker if they get punished. So seeing that, hopefully it's nothing like, oh, your title is stripped. I want something a little bit more strict if he does in fact go out of line. So I think I'm going to leave things there, because overall I found this opener, these arcs that I've just been talking about for Season 2 really interesting, and I could happily read through the whole kind of Season 2 in one sitting. But then this video would be extremely long. However, I think I've raised up some good points in the video, talked about some good specific things. Like, I also wanted to talk about the character, I can't remember his name now, but he said he had a kid. And I really did like that, because he showed genuine concern for the little girl character that was going to try and climb up the tower by saying, look, this tower isn't for you, just leave now so you don't get hurt later. I thought that was really good. The big, like, brute teddy bear guy that they talk about, him and that character have a great chemistry together, so seeing that evolve and move forward, I think that could be a nice pairing. We get the mention of Hats in this episode, as there's a character that's known as the Devil's Right Arm that apparently managed to beat Hats, so that should be pretty interesting, and Bam looks to want to fight him. So there's a lot of good things that should come within the next couple of arcs that gets me very excited to see what happens next. And I hope you'll join me too, but I also hope that obviously the series just keeps on evolving, because so far it's been amazing. The art style, I said throughout, was fantastic in these arcs, and the arcs were well structured. I think the flow of the arcs were really decent in most points. Like I said, it was a little bit slow to start with, but every new season is slow when they're trying to build up the plot and establish new characters and new things. But I think the world building aspect of it was fantastic. The character introductions were really good. And overall, like I said, gets me excited. but I want to know what your thoughts are on the characters and the opening of Season 2. Comment all your thoughts down below in the comment section and let me know what you'd like to see moving forward. Like the video if you liked the video, and if you're new, make sure you subscribe for more Tower of God content. We're finally into Season 2, so hopefully things will start getting more and more intense. Plus, we learn more about what happened to Bam in that 5-year time skip. Most of all though, just have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Alligator, matane, goodbye.